Hello everyone, my name is pastelsparkles and I am a streamer over on Twitch. And for the last week and a half, I have smashed out Dragon Age Origins. I have always wanted to play this game. I bought all of the games roughly when they came out and proceeded to never play any of them. I tried playing Dragon Age Origins at one point, but I think I started the DLC before I even played the game because I thought for some reason that Awakening was like an enhanced version of Origins. So I didn't get very far in the game. Obviously, it made no sense to me, and I just left it until I started streaming and started meeting lovely people who were very enthusiastic about Dragon Age, and I wanted to see what all the hype was about. It took me quite a while to actually get started on it. I did try and play it on stream, but because it was an older game, it had a lot of trouble crashing. I had a lot of trouble actually being playable while on stream. It crashed constantly. It meant I had to fast forward through a lot of gameplay again on stream because it just kept crashing through important parts. And then I went through a period where all of my files disappeared and I cried a little bit. And here we are. It took me a week and a half. I had much less work over the last few weeks, so I was able to smash it out knowing that I would make this video so I could kind of justify the time spent on it. Today we're going to be talking about how thirsty is Dragon Age Origins. Any game that has any level of romance in it already gets such a boost for me with any kind of whether it's going to be a fun game for me. I like fantasy. I really like fantasy, and I like the style of Dragon Age Origins. It is a very strategic battle style. It is extremely story driven. As far as I know, the second game is less story driven and more battle driven because a lot of people complained about it back in the day. Silly. I really enjoy the way it's played. It reminded me a lot of RuneScape, which was, you know, something that is coming back, I feel now, and it kind of scratched the itch of me maybe wanting to look into RuneScape again. But this has a story, so, you know, very exciting for me. I had a few different people that I wanted to romance in this game. There are 4 romance options. We have Morrigan, we have Alistair, we have Zevran, and we have Leliana. Most of my friends pick the same-ish people to romance when they play, and I feel very on my own about trying to romance Leliana. I know Leliana is in every one of the Dragon Age games, but in one she is particularly different personality-wise in that she is very religious. Leliana is a rogue. She was a bard back in the day in Orlais and left her life there and came to Ferelden, the main country in the Dragon Age world that we are participating in. And you meet her in the first town that you come to after the first initial part of the game. I just fell in love with her. She's beautiful. She has red hair. That's like the only boxes you need to tick for me to like you. And she reminded me a lot of Mercedes from Fire Emblem. And if you watched my Fire Emblem Thirsty review, I'm sure you know how much I love her as a character. So I was immediately drawn to her. I do, as a lot of people know, have a preference for himbos. So Alistair really did grab me in the beginning, but as soon as I met Leliana, I abandoned all romance option of Alistair and just went on with my life with Leliana, and I'm happy about it. You have a number of different places that you can go after the first initial towns, and as you go to the different towns, you pick up new companions that you add to your party. So the way that you bond with other characters, whether that is romance or otherwise, is by talking to them and giving them gifts. Certain decisions that you make throughout the game affect your rating with them. So if you have them in your party and you go through story options, that's when you can boost or negatively affect your reputation with them. I made a lot of terrible decisions with Alistair, which also prompted my abandonment of romance with him. I played as a female warden in my playthrough, so I couldn't romance Morrigan, but I just want it to be known. I absolutely would romance her. I love her. I actually didn't have her in my party for the majority of the game because she is a mage, but she focuses more on attack rather than defense, health, things like that. And I am a really chaotic sort of player of these games, and I need someone to heal me when I jump too far into battle. So I had Win with me most of the time, but Leliana and Alistair were also in my party for the majority of the game because I was still like, I need a little himbo in my life. I need a little Leliana by my side. A little bit of Win is all I need. Okay, let's stop. You go to different towns, picking up different people, putting them in your party to have conversations with people and boost your reputation. Beyond that, you can also give them gifts, which depending on their preference for certain things will give you a bigger boost or a small boost. It just depends sort of what you plan on giving them. And the way to sort of find out how you're tracking beyond checking the inventory section where you can click through and find out what your sort of reputation is with them is to visit your campsite with all of your companions and have individual conversations with them. They might talk about how a certain mission went or, you know, tell you little things about themselves. It's a really cool time to get to know the lore of each character, where they came from, their origins, as the name suggests. And it's very fun getting to know kind of where everyone came from. I think that is also a big part in how you decide who you might romance, is just getting to know how they are in certain situations and how they might react to them. So you can give gifts to anyone, and usually it doesn't affect sort of the conversation that you can unlock with them. Like with Alistair, if you give him the things that he likes, like familial things, he will have conversations with you that will unlock certain personal quests. So same for Morrigan, Leliana, and Zevran. But all of them can do that except for Leliana, and I didn't know until it was too late, and I was nervous about my reputation with her and how soon I might have a romance with her. So little bit want to play it again, but also don't want to commit 36 more hours to it. So what happened with my playthrough with Leliana is I was in Orzammar, I think, which I did pretty early on in my playthrough because I had no idea how to get to Haven, and I saw Frostback Mountains. I'll go there, and it was Orzammar. So sometimes I wish I had a little bit more help when I played the game, so I do kind of wish I streamed it, but it's okay. It all worked out in the end. I got a bit nervous about my relationship with her, so I gave her a bunch of gifts that I'd been holding on to. And I unfortunately leveled up her reputation too high to unlock her personal quest, which is what really solidifies the romance pathway with her and gets you to have what you can have with all characters, is a night in the tent with them where they sleep together and have this really cringy kind of sex montage. You know, it's not really for me, but it's for some people, that's for sure. I didn't end up getting that in my playthrough, which made me sad because I felt like my romance pathway was lackluster compared to what others were. It actually really detracted my experience with the game. I do still really love the story, and I'm definitely excited to play the next one. I forced myself to do this video early so that I could start playing 2 immediately, because I feel like my nights have been very boring without Dragon Age. And yeah, so in the end I still was able to get a sort of semi-romance pathway with her by the end of the game. When you talk to her and you finished the stuff with the Blight, she says, and you know, what are your plans now? Like, you know, you've been victorious, well done, the curtain has fallen, la la la. And the warden character says, but does she get the girl? You know, does the main character get the girl? And Leliana's like, you know it, ooh, oh you. So I assume that they had an actual romance. The story after suggested that they did, but I didn't get what everyone else lovingly experienced having played the game correctly or with another character. I have seen the romance pathway for Alistair. I think it's so cute. I think it's cool at the end how if you're a noble human, you can be the queen with Alistair being the king of Ferelden. I just think it's very satisfying if that's the kind of thing that you want. I think it is completely unsatisfying that Morrigan is only a straight option. She can't be romanced by a female warden. That is bullshit to me. I do love though that Leliana and Zevran are bi, so it doesn't matter who you pick to play as, you can romance them. I just think it's nice, and as someone who identifies as that sexuality, it's nice for me to have the option to romance whoever I feel like, no matter what gender I have made myself in the game. I really like that. Overall, I had a really good time with the game. I think because the relationships are so meaningful, I think it is very thirsty in that way. I really enjoyed the story. The lore is massive. A lot of the time, my brain felt so small while I tried to get all of the info that I could about every place. I really would like to come back and play it as a different race and see how it goes. My first playthrough when I played incorrectly, I was playing a city elf and I didn't really care for the start of the game as that, and I've been told it is kind of the least exciting of the playthroughs. Feel free to argue that if you want in the comments. I will play this game again eventually anyway, so you know, who knows, I might play the city the city elf at some stage. But I do really want to play as a dwarf in one of my playthroughs because I just think it would be interesting to see it from that perspective. I think it's so cool that depending on who you start as determines the beginning of the game for you, and a lot of other things like whether characters like you and things like that based on their preconceived notions. I also want to say fuck you to everyone who says anything bad about elves. You're a piece of shit. And that's it. That's the end. So I guess on a scale of 1 to 10 thirsts, how thirsty is Dragon Age Origins? I mean, that's a very hard question to answer. I think I have a lot of people in my social life that are waiting to hear a big number for this, and I think it's probably deserving of that. I'm gonna give it 20 out of 10 thirsts. I don't want to go too crazy because I know I did go crazy with Fire Emblem, but that's just because it's so diverse in the amount of romances that you can have and how meaningful they are and whatever. And it's not only, you know, you and that person, but it's all the other characters can have romances together. Similar with Dragon Age, if you don't put yourself with someone else, they can end up with other people. So that's not like exclusive to Fire Emblem or anything like that. And something worth noting is you can have a threesome with certain characters. There are ways of doing it. I never really fully looked into the ways of doing it. It's not something that I'm interested, but that's there for people that want to do that. And I think that's cool because it's a fantasy world. So why not have the option to do something like that? We have no rules except the rules that we create. So it's very cool. I am extremely excited to play 2 and most likely romance Fenris. I'm weak, and that's that. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really liked Dragon Age. I talked a lot about it in Discord. I loved every bit of it. I think my favorite story was the Haven story where you kind of fight against the cult of Andraste, but it's like a false prophet Andraste, and I just like cult shit, and it was satisfying to me. I don't know, I just really liked the end of it, and you know, because of that part of it, we got the quote, "Arse out for Andraste," and I just love that, you know. But never forget, feet out for Fenrir. These are important quotes. Won't be relevant until Inquisition though. We'll get there, I promise. I don't know if we're gonna get there by the end of the year though, so don't hold out. But who knows, because I'm pretty quick with finishing these games because I have nothing else to do. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you've played Dragon Age, which I'm sure you have, what was your experience with it? Who did you have in your party? Who did you romance? Who did you play as? I want to know everything. I really like this game and how many options there are with how you can play it. It's very, very cool. I will see you guys very soon. Much love. Peace out, doggy.